The vestibular system, where it comes from. A lot of people look at milestones. Vestibular system is a very important one. It stays with us, hopefully, to the day we die, as where we're going next. What you have to understand is one of the things I'm teaching you here is where they come from. The vestibular system starts at birth. And now it melts in with the absolute horizon on this. When a baby is born, from the fetal position into the womb, they are expanding in all directions, right? Gravity doesn't have the same hold on a fetus because there's no elimination or intake, right? We don't breathe. We're not eating food. We're not excreting waste. And so this pressure of breath, right? This is part of gravity, right? When we're getting into it when we're born. But when you're in the fetal position, you're meant to expand in all directions. One of the things that happens in outer space to astronauts is that neurological stimulation goes into play again, and now the body is starting to expand in all directions, which is very dangerous for them, and it even rips their DNA when it's not set up right. Part of why we get de novos and special needs in genetics in the womb. As you know, a lot of people think it's always the parents that carry her, but actually what you're seeing right now is a lot of de novos, which means a one-off or a spontaneous creation, or however you're looking at it, what's going on. When a baby is first born, we don't have to go through the whole birth at the moment, when they're first born, right, they are establishing in gravity. Now, when this is happening, and we'll get into our Mr. Baby Doll or Miss Baby Doll or whichever she is. So, the big reason here what you're having is not only the first breath. The first breath needs to happen in all directions, not just the expansion of the chest. As we get old, we get very lazy with only chest expansion. We should be able to breathe from our back, our spines, our sides, whichever. One of the tricks I like to use if you have problems with that, if you're working on yourself, is just take a little bean bag or something and put it on various areas of your body when you're rotating around, you're lying in your and stuff, and feel like you're breathing that bean bag away. Not that you're pushing it away, but you're breathing it away. I should do a lesson on that. When you're working with the vestibular, the reason the eyes do not function right at birth is because those filaments, these little lines in your eyes, are a real essential part of your vestibular system. So as your baby is getting their absolute horizon and they're moving and you're picking them up and you're putting them down, these eyes need to be in neutral. And so all the filaments are there, are creating part of the vestibular system. Now there's a lot more that goes into it, get into the mucus and stuff, but right now I'm sort of focusing on the immediate creation, which is sort of breath to eyes. Now, I don't mean eyes with vision, I mean structure within the eyes. You're taught in anatomy that the filaments are just there for eye color. They're really essential for our vestibular. I really believe if people use my techniques, we can actually tell Alzheimer's, let's say, or based off of filament movements way earlier and start preventative measures before we're waiting for the system to fail. I'm not here to wait for the system to fail, to your body to fail, your brain to fail, your movement to fail. I'm here to redirect it. One of the worst things that people say to me is, I'm so glad I'm not your client. I'm like, why? Because that means there's nothing wrong with me. No, be my client now, like as an adult, so nothing becomes wrong with you. That's the way it works. Don't wait for the aftercare. But that's what people do. You know, they come to me after the cancer surgery. They come to me, you know, I can't even tell you how many people I've caught with cancer because I touch them and I can feel it. Anyway, so when the eyes are off, out of alignment, out of sync, it puts your vestibular system on alert or out of alignment. No difference when you're driving a car and your one tire is out of alignment. I don't care if you've got a Lamborghini, your car's worth $2 million. If it's out of alignment, it's out of alignment. That's your vestibular system. So more and more that I'm seeing these babies coming in with one eye turned in, and more that I see professionals, pediatricians, etc., saying, oh, that's normal and it doesn't affect development. No, it only interrupts or can interrupt your whole vestibular system. It will. You're out of alignment. based off of the filaments. So again, that's the reason why babies aren't meant to look at you or to see. So don't overstimulate their vision waiting for that to happen. It starts kicking in around 3 weeks, and you can see that on the most viral video that I have. I think there's almost up to 3 million views on how your baby's eyes work in the first month, right? And you don't want to do that black and white stimulation. Please, you get a mat that's plain, get plain back. Everybody's got old McDonald's. How do you want to do tummy time with all that vestibular stimulation? It's too much on your baby. It's not necessary. Get them out of the car swings, the cars, the containers, because again, this motion of vestibular input does not get created when there are bound too much. That's why I'm not a big swaddling fan, things like that, because your vestibular system is being created with this movement. And that's why when they have colic and they have reflux and they can't present in tummy time, this is one of the reasons why tummy time is so important, because the eyes are not just round. The corneas, the filaments make the eyes heavier. And so heavier under gravity, and this is where biology is different, and people have to learn that. So let's say here, no matter what, these glasses will have a plumb line. Let's say if I'm grabbing any kind of mass, this is an inanimate object, and it creates to that. Well, when your baby's doing tummy time and doing all of this, if the eyes act as mass, right? And this is what happens when you start having a brain damage and things like that as well. It messes with the vestibular input. And this is why it's really important that you start early with movement lesson. Not that you're learning a modality, but you're learning how to kickstart your child's development, including their vestibular system, because the eyes being heavy, and especially if, like, let's say we're doing tummy time and the head's moving around, the eyes, let's say this is the cornea, are moving, right? Now you say you have a strabismus, or the eye's in and one eye's out, and they're moving around and they're doing tummy time. It immediately gives a different vestibular input into the system. So to leave eyes out of alignment and say, oh, it's not going to affect their development, it did from the day they were born. It affected their vestibular system. We need to work with this. I'm not saying that babies need eye surgery the day after they're born, but we have to recognize vision and what goes on in vision and the movements that are created. They're there for a reason. We can't dumb down the babies. We need to understand development, and we need to be proactive, not reactive. Don't wait to, oh my gosh, why is my baby crawling like this? And I'm constantly saying, well, the one eye's turning in. This is it's just got to stop, and it's just got to be caught earlier. But this is where vestibular system really is the biggest influence, is that eye-breath ratio, that eye-spine ratio, before it becomes eye-hand. Eye-hand is spatial orientation in a relationship that comes in later, but this is the key, is in the filaments of the eyes. And I'll keep talking about that this week, because I think people really are looking for vestibular connections coming to sitting, those kind of movements, but they don't realize that they don't have a good established foundation in the basis of movements. Birth to 3 months is the most important time of your child's life. They need the movement that creates all of this. This is where it all starts. Thanks.